So, hello everybody. Let me introduce myself. My name is Made Puspadewi, and now I would like to answer 10 questions that are about online course study given by Mr. Harry. For the first question is, what is online learning? Online learning is any form of learning conducted partly over the internet. It is often referred to as learning among the other items. In online learning, teacher and student can share their information without seeing each other. Online learning can be divided into two categories. First categories of online learning is synchronous learning. Synchronous learning is that learning happens at the same time. In this kind of learning, the online class is being taught in real time. Teacher and learners are communicating within the same time frame. And the second one is synchronous learning. In synchronous learning happens at a different time. It means that the learners do not need to be online together at any particular time. Class meet at no particular time and is of no specific length. And the next is the basic features of an LMS. Here is the 8 basic features of an LMS. The first one is announcement. Next is syllabus, lesson, discussion forums, short posts, assignment, gradebook, course mail, and resources. For the first one is announcement. Announcement is a place that is used by the teacher to publish announcement about the learner activities and also another important things. And the next is syllabus. The syllabus contains learner objective and also learning activities, assessment session, and so on. And for the third is lesson. Lesson is the most important element in LMS, and the teacher will post the lesson to the LMS, which will be a later becomes the material that will be studied by the students. In LMS, the teacher will post lesson week by week. So, every week, the students will guide about material that will be studied. And the next is discussion forums. Discussion forum is a space that is used by students to discuss about a certain topic, and the student can give their opinion, comments, or feedback to other students. And the next is short boxes or assignment. Short boxes or assignment include which is a feature that there is elements that is used to submit or collect their assignment that is given by teacher, and also disseminate additional information or other documents that is related to the learning material. And the next is gradebook. The gradebook which is serve as record of the students' activities such as the students' attendance, students' participation, and also assignment grades, and also so on. And for the next is course mail. Course mail, which is a feature that is used by the teacher to convey information personally to the students. And for the last one is resources. Resources, which is an element of LMS that is provides learning resource for students, so that the student will add a lot of information of their learning process. And for the next is the example of the online course, and here's the example of online course. And when we create an online course, the instruction that we use should be clear, easy to understand, and simple. And next is why the online material should be attractive. Why the online material should be attractive while decide an online course? That is because an attractive online material can enhance communication. And here is the elements of attractive online materials. We have 4 elements of attractive online material. For the first one is layout. We have to make sure that in layout, we have to make sure that in the text there are significant amount white space, and also there are space between line and paragraphs. And the next is text. In the text there are heading and subheading, which is used to logically organize the contents. And in text, we can use by universal initiative and typeface. For example, Times New Roman with type size of minimum, and we can use bold and italic to emphasize important items, and also we can use underlining or hyperlinks. For the third one is color. We can use color or only with purpose. We have to make sure that we have a good contrast between the text and the background. For example, if we use white background, we have to make sure that we also use the text in light color. And for the last element is graphic. We can use visual elements, for example, acronyms to distinguish between types of graph elements. And next is type of learning activities and their relevant tools. And for the first type is class discussion. In the class discussion, both teacher and students that can give their opinions and communication toward each other. And the tools that we use in class discussion is discussion forum. And the second type is journal reading. The goal in this case is the students develops the habit of reflecting of their work, and the tools that we use in journal writing is blog. And the next is share knowledge. In share knowledge, the class is essentially building one or more documents together online. And the tool that we use in share knowledge is Wiki. And the next is practice exercise. The teacher can address many levels of thinking skills through the use of multiple choice, matching true or false, or we can use fill in the blank. For the tool that we can use in practice exercise is testing or quizzing. And the last type is group project. In group project, the student can communicate to the other, and also in the group project, the student divided into some groups. And the tools that we can use is work groups. And for the next is how the teacher optimize discussion in online learning. Sometimes discussion in online learning may not work well, and the teacher should avoid the problems. And teacher should be optimize the discussion. And there are some ways to make our discussion in online learning work well. For the first is make a contract beginning of the course, and the second is make a deal for the discussion, and for the last is make a clear instruction for the students for discussion. Next is learning resources that engage learners. In my opinion, learning resource that can engage the learners is audio and video. This can engage students in learning because this research is easy to find in internet. We can get from YouTube, Google, and many more. And the next is example of effective assessment in English online teaching and learning. The example is assessing learning outcomes. Assessing learning outcomes is an example of effective assessment that clearly and directly to the learning outcomes of course. This assessment can be assessed for writing skills, by giving the student an example of descriptive text in block, and the teacher expected the students to be able to make their thinking skills. And the students must submit the test on time, because it takes effect of the score immediately give the score after the submission. So, the teacher can easy to assess the students' comprehension of the writing about the descriptive text, and may know the learning outcomes of the student. And the next is basic elements in building an online course. We have 4 basic elements in building an online course. For the first one is learning outcomes. The learning outcomes should be specific, measurable, and clear. We have to make sure that course materials are related to the online learning outcomes, and also provide students to the resources that supported activities. And the next is online syllabus. Online syllabus include a communication strategy. It is about how and when the students can contact you via email, chat, or etc. And for the third is course outline. Course outline is calendar to the list and present sequences of event, assignment, reading activities, and etc. And the last basic element is lesson. We can make a lesson with the learning outcomes, at least one learning outcomes. And here is the example of the online course. When we create an online course, the instruction that we use should be clear, easy to understand, and simple. Well, I think that's all that I can share to you about online course. And thank you for watching. Goodbye.